In a crowded showroom in IKEA, a timid female voice over the intercom suggests we have a minute of silence for Remembrance Day. And the music is miraculously muted, and all the shopping carts roll to a respectful halt among the storage solutions. I stood hand in hand with my curious daughter and gazed at all the generations, the races, the solemn faces standing respectfully in our organized aisles, each of us holding our hymnes and our private thoughts about peace and war. A distant toddler whinnied, wondering why his mother had turned to stone. And then, around the corner, wheeled one middle-aged man on his cell phone, one solitary, loud mouth striding past the wall of mirrors, belligerently yakking about some bill, some jack, some meeting in some hall. Well, my eyes shot red-hot lasers into his beige bomber jacket, singeing his overgrown neck hairs. How dare he interrupt my reflection on peace? His violation made me violent. This old flooding of warmth like urine filled my heart. Oh, yes, there is nothing more satisfying than self-righteousness. I hadn't felt this smug since I was a converted Pentecostal, handing out tracts about the Pope being the Antichrist at my Catholic school during lunch. I have a cousin. He's young. He's tender-hearted, and I think of him as earnest and dear. He's prairie. He's getting married to his sweetheart. And to my horror and dismay, he has on his Facebook page posts of anti-immigration and inflammatory anti-Muslim propaganda and posts from right-wing America, and this was before Paris. I was tempted to say something, of course, but instead I simply wrote under one of them, "Why?" No response, except a little like from my brother. Earlier this week, Facebook friends were reminding each other it's not just Paris. And that's true. But some take it further to accuse sympathizers about only caring about the West. And there was this online going conversation about cultural diversity in theater. A playwright had to pull a show at a college in the States because he had an all-Indian cast and they cast a couple of white people. Anyway, I sympathized. I was eating cold brown rice and avocado and lemon ginger cayenne pepper, shoving it down my throat, some small steps towards controlling my cholesterol. And I dashed off my 2 cents. Frankly, too quickly. Anyway, I get home after a long day and think perhaps maybe I'll edit what I said. But a colleague had penned a lengthy response calling me privileged and basically a racist and, instead of just actually writing to me privately and asking me if that's what I meant, having known me for over a decade. I suspect it was pretty obvious I meant the opposite, but it did give her the chance to have a great night out with the trumpet. Anyway, I change outfits and head out to work. Again, hat number 3. I've been auditioning for this casting director for years, and he still calls me Lucia, with a crinkled brow. I've given up correcting him. I get into the room and I slate Lucia Frangioni. And once again, the client from LA winces at my ethnic name, annoyed that he has to even think about how to pronounce it if he has to talk to me. The woman beside me has a wicked long Polish last name, but a very easy first name. And she's blonde and young and beautiful and has rock-hard assets. And that's fine with me. We are obviously not up for the same role because I'm up for the ethnic Spanish, not a model, 40 to 50s mom with indigestion. I go home after this and work on my lines for Mrs. Santa Claus. Welcome to the 40s. The next day, fellow gets home from his night shift and we have a fight. Very rare for us. I'm absolutely sure I'm right. And we're speaking civil to each other in front of the kids, but they are shifty-eyed and quiet as we patronize each other. We're both working too many jobs and tired and concerned about housing and money and, like everybody else in Vancouver. And then we have to go to church. Great. I dread the passing of the peace. Peace be with you. It interrupts my self-involvement. A small man in a bright embroidered vest takes the pulpit. A guest. I don't want a guest. I don't have patience for a guest. I just really want to hear my own dear pastor, Dan. He's so articulate. The guest's face is a copper penny. He talks about growing up during the Civil War in Guatemala as a Mayan and living with the poison of hate inside his body for both the Americans and the communists. And he talks about letting go and forgiving, but not forgetting. And he speaks about not allowing hate and fear to consume us, especially in light of the Paris killings. And he challenges us, this peace and tolerance starts in the home. I hear every wise word. I'm busted. I run my hand along fellow's thigh and he threads his fingers into mine. After church, I dash off to rehearsals again, and Mrs. Claus has a revelation about the importance of baking cookies with the family, and the secret ingredient is love shared. Not a bad idea. So when I get home, I suggest we make gingerbread. It's a little early in the season, but why not? And I whip up the batter and roll and press in fellow times, and the kids drop color into bowls of icing, and miraculously they design. Nora does a very intricate bride and groom, ginger pear, and the other child makes a perfect trimmed tree and some red fuzzy creature, and my fellow makes Van Gogh's The Scream. And I do star after star after star after star as we all hum along to Michael Bublé, The Boy from Burnaby. Once we put the kids to bed and ice a few more between us, I do a little gingerbread family. Here's the husband, the girl, the boy, and me. I know on some level my fellow and I have to address the argument, but a talk is often the least helpful way. So instead, we snuggle into bed. We give thanks and pray.